Analysts are of the view that enterprise and supplier development investments, coupled with a focus on environmental, social and governance, could provide a powerful combination for developing local manufacturing capacity to support the African mining and resources sector. But the social pillar has been particularly difficult to define and even more so to measure. For more on this, we are joined by Absa Corporate and Investment Banking's David Mparutsa. Thank you so much for your time, David. An interesting dynamic as we trot along with the trajectory of ESD and ESG within the day-to-day business runnings. How is South Africa faring as a starting point with regards to progress here?
Yeah, good morning to Misang, and good morning to your viewers as well. So I think, South Africa is progressing well. I think one of the benefits, that South Africa is benefiting from is, I think the BE framework was sort of, drawn and drafted, quite a while back. So I think a lot of corporates have, onboarded it, especially in the mining sector, where we've seen very strong ESG programs that focus on giving procurement opportunities to black-owned SMEs, but not only giving procurement opportunities to them, to also ensure that those SMEs have the requirement of funding to actually be able to proceed with those procurement opportunities.
And the core of this discussion is around how then South Africa can ensure that there's a boost pertaining to the progress in the mining and services sector with regards to ESD and ESG as a way of doing business and what the globe is essentially expecting.
Absolutely. I think, the core from an ESD point of view and, what a lot of mining companies are starting to think about is, not just procuring from local businesses, but ensuring that they're procuring goods that were actually manufactured, locally. The manufacturing industry has got a significant impact in terms of creating jobs, in terms of, developing local skills capacity. So it's really about linking your value chain to ensure that you've not only procured, goods and services from a local entity, but those goods and services have been procured locally.
The continent is, of course, looking to the Africa Free Trade Area as one that would be a benchmark towards intra-trade. Where does ESD and ESG fit in, seeing that just this week there was the first shipment that was received in this particular agreement, but also a broader view of how the African continent does business amongst themselves?
Yeah, so we are starting to see, a lot of regional connectivity, specifically in the SADC region, where you've got regional supplier development programs. I've got a case in point, Botswana and Zambia looking at a regional supplier development program. So empowering SMEs, capacitating SMEs. So firstly, they can, supply onto, local mining companies, but also supply onto regional mining companies. And obviously that gives them a much broader marketplace, and it helps them sort of elevate their businesses if they have, different marketplaces to sort of supply onto. So we are starting to see that coordination in countries that are, bordering or neighboring each other with similar sectors, i.e. the mining industry, looking at how they can get, local SMEs to trade with each other and to supply large corporations that operate across the region.
South Africa being the gateway to the rest of the African continent, but the challenges with regards to supply chain are even more present now with the electricity and logistical challenges. Sure. How much of that is an impediment?
It's been a big problem. So, we've just seen manufacturing data released yesterday. I think the manufacturing index is down from, it's down to 43.6, down from 50.9. So lots of challenges affecting the sector at the moment. Obviously, electricity supply is one. But I think another critical component is that, manufacturers not being able to get the goods they require to actually, manufacture because they've been stuck at ports. So lots of challenges at the moment. Electricity being one, and I think our logistical challenges in South Africa making it a very difficult ground for manufacturers at the moment.
Lastly, David, we can't end this conversation without talking about the impact of geopolitics in this regard. To what extent do they play a role in the dynamics of how Africa then implements ESD and ESG?
Yeah. So we're actually looking at, geopolitics as a positive from an ESD point of view. I think it's really forcing, corporations to rethink their supply chains, to build resilient supply chains, and to build localized supply chains. So, the impact of geopolitics has really, forced transformation of value chains, and a lot of corporations looking to manufacture locally or procure locally, as well as to kind of sell their goods locally. So the impact of geopolitics has been somewhat positive from an ESD point of view, and really forcing corporations to localize value chains.
That's interesting. David Mparutsa is with Absa there this morning on the business desk, talking to us about developments and progress within the ESD and ESG agenda on the African continent.